Hi everyone, it's Sister Jenna from America Meditating Radio. I hope you've been enjoying Wiseish, which you can get live on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube from 8:30 a.m. to 8:45. But you can also get it on demand 24/7. It's going to be your power boost for the morning. It's your daily dose for the soul. It's just going to encourage you to make the day that much more valuable. So join us. Looking forward to seeing you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wise-ish. I'm your host, Sister Jenna. Isn't that amazing? We continue to just basically trot along during this particular time. Things are so interesting. Right before I came on to be with all of you, I said to Santosh, when is this world going to open back up? I was just thinking, like, don't you miss deep relationships with people right now? Or have they been some relationships that you're like, I am so glad this pandemic came? There's got to be some folks that you're feeling like, oh, I'm so sorry, I really can't come to see you because of the coronavirus. We're still trying to convince my mother that there is a virus that is really not good for you and it's out there and it's called corona. And she's like, what is that? What is a virus? She's still trying to figure that out. But you know what? That's just how it rolls, you know? So here's how we continue to move along with our lives. We really need to gain a lot more inner wisdom. We need to begin to develop ourselves so that when the world opens up, we're a better civilization. That's the intent. And even if you go about it in a way that the vibration is dark or at a lower frequency, people still believe that whatever they're doing is the right thing to do. you know? And so what can happen when we have all these different interpretations about who we are, it brings a lot of strain in relationships, you know. And right now, we have a golden opportunity to heal relationships. And what that will require is a whole bunch of humility and the letting go. To be able to accept that maybe I invited this relationship in my life, or maybe I wasn't completely the right one all the time, or maybe I'm not aware of the thoughts that I've had about this relationship. And so I'm sure you have recognized that relationships, when they're working and there's respect, there is space, there is honor, and there is love, there's nothing as heavenly as a good relationship. I remember once I walked into the kitchen and there were about 4 or 5 of us in the kitchen, and there was a feeling of heaven between all of us because everybody was in such a nice space. And I said, this is what the future will feel like. It'll feel that everybody is in their own power and everybody is respecting each other and everybody knows what to do. So there are so many factors that actually destroy relationships. One, you're so self-centered and you're so focused on whatever you want that you don't even think about the well-being of other people. For example, I've asked the set to be quiet today, and my wonderful mother keeps making noise as I speak. And it could be a great distraction for me, but she's not in there. She's not in that space. So what that can do, that could actually irritate me, right? And I can start to have a lot of waste thoughts. If she does it once, and she does it twice, and she does it 10 times, I keep getting reinforced this waste thought. She doesn't think about me. She doesn't care about my request. I've done this. You see, the whole story can keep going into a long, long, what we call Ramayana in Indian culture. And it breaks down the relationship. Because what you start to do with each other is think about all the negative things that you both experience between one another, and you forget about the good and the beauty. So the balancing act to that, the balancing need to heal our relationships is to recognize that if I can somehow settle my awareness about someone with a sense of what was that thing that I've always honored, respected, appreciated, and loved in that person, I must become very clear that when I do that, it's an honoring of myself. Because even when I pick up the negativity of someone, or I think about someone not respecting my space, or I think about somebody's not supporting me despite how many times I've requested or asked, what that does, you can feel it creates a toxicity in your system. Haven't you felt that? And as you feel that toxicity in your system, you can feel so drained and sort of just you yourself. You're not even having a good relationship with yourself. And that's why it becomes difficult to even begin to extend a better part of you to someone that you really do love. Okay? So there are many factors that break down the relationship, but I want to focus on just one. It starts with one thought. Over and over again. I have seen the best marriages break apart because somebody in the marriage started with one thought of looking at the weakness of their partner, of their spouse. And that one thought gets reinforced as another thought. The person behaved like this in the kitchen, and you had the thought. Then 2 days later, the person behaved like that in the living room, then another thought. And then 4 days later, the person behaved like that, outside in the garden. And then the thought goes on, and then you create a story, and then you go, oh my gosh, a week ago he did the same thing. Or 4 days ago, she did this to me in the living room. Oh, it's so annoying. And then you start to talk about that to your friends and your family. Means you reinforce that bruise, that pain, that hurt. So then you start to break down the relationship. And the relationship becomes one of really pained people speaking to each other in pain. Have you ever watched that? When a hurt person or a bruised person or a disgruntled person, an angry person, talks to another person in that same vibration, nothing good comes out of it. Absolutely nothing. So, how do you heal relationships? Start with one thought. One thought. The one thought is, I'm going to use my mother as an example. And my one thought that keeps me sane in my relationship with her, she's a good soul. And I go back to that point over and over again, despite all the antics she carries on with. I say, but God, she's a good soul. And that one thought protects me from going into a myriad of negative and waste thoughts. Because throughout the day, most of the things that she does is totally against my system. And I have to keep holding that one thought, that she's a good soul. She's a pure soul. And what that does, it helps me to heal my relationship with that particular soul. I'm not saying that it's 100% always easy, but I can tell you this, that one thought will not go to waste. So please, find your one thought that can become the medicine that will heal that relationship with that one person that you feel there's something broken in it. And as you begin to build that one thought, and you play it over and over again, and you begin to create a story around it, a narrative with it, it might come into action that you actually do something with that person coming from that one thought. Yesterday, we were going somewhere, and my mother asked, can I come with you? And I knew that if she came with me, she would do something. I just knew it. And it could be my thought that made that reality. I'm not gonna step out of that responsibility on that point. But I went out and I had to do 3 main errands. And I simply requested her stay in the car with our little puppy, Happy, and don't come out. And when I would come out, when I would go to my appointments, she would come in the car, the dog is off the leash, everyone. She's talking to people, she's touching people at a time when people should be social distancing. Remember, she doesn't know what corona is. I've been telling her 100 times. She goes, what is corona? Okay, that's fine. Then I leave her again, and then she's talking to another stranger who I went up to my car yesterday, and he's asking me to give him a job. Now, I don't know how long they were talking. And I said to myself that one thought, she's a good soul. But I knew taking her yesterday could challenge me and test me to become a little disturbed because I've got a lot going on. And then here comes this energy that goes in another direction. Remember, every time you perform an action, or let me go back, every time you have a thought that initiates an action, it creates a vibration that can bring other people into your world. My thoughts and my vibration are about bringing people into a higher dimension of living and thinking. Now, I'm not saying if you don't believe that or do that, it's not valuable. But you need to surround yourself with people who believe the same thing. And when you don't do it, you can create broken relationships. Then you'll have to do a lot of thinking to try to heal that relationship. But sometimes you can't get away from relationships. Could be your husband, could be your child, could be your mother-in-law, could be a parent. So how do you build a relationship that can be healed? You've got to center your relationship. Your core connection has to be with the divine, with God. If you don't have a solid relationship with God, you will never be contented because human beings will disappoint you and human beings will inspire you. And that means you're setting yourself up for a roller coaster of emotions when it comes on to relationship. So here's something I found from my wonderful mentor, Daddy Janky, Companion of God book, which I took from our meditation museum. So here, I thought this was really a great way to end our program today. Giving your heart to the one above. One task of those of us on the spiritual path is to help others experience belonging to God. This means helping them identify with their spiritual personality. I shall be able to do that only when I have effected this transformation myself. The challenge in this comes in two varieties: the influences of those around me and the more subtle influences from deep within my own self. Remember this, everyone. The former are easier to deal with because their potential for causing me pain is usually clear and visible. The latter, which is connected to the ego, for example, take more time because they are subtle, thus harder to recognize and face. When I give my heart to God alone, there's nothing but joy. Giving it to humans can create joy, but also some sorrow, because my original feelings of elevated spiritual love for all are reduced into the limited. The feeling of universal love is replaced by an attraction to only some. This is not a basis of constant joy. When I subject myself again and again to limited emotions, my spiritual personality suffers. It is a most subtle form of dishonesty. Did you all hear that? It is a most subtle form of dishonesty, as I am not supposed to be an example of the limited, but rather a model of the divine. So my aim is not to make others like me, but to inspire others to become like God. So if you want to heal relationships, you got that? Your aim is to inspire others to be as loving and kind as God, the Supreme Father. Wasn't that nice? So how do you heal relationships? Start with one thought, develop a very deep, intimate relationship with the one above, and, as I said, find that one thought, that you can see the good quality in that person and build that relationship. So here's your blessing for the day. You are an elevated soul, one out of multi-millions, who is like a moth that surrenders completely to the one supreme flame. You're an elevated soul out of millions who is like a moth that surrenders completely to the supreme flame. So that's our wrap for another Wise-ish segment. I hope you enjoyed your power boost for the morning, your daily dose. And like I end every day on the America Meditating Radio Show, no one can take away your happiness unless you give them permission. And we really are here to love each other the same. Have a great day today, everyone. Take care. Om Shanti. The time that we choose to be aware doesn't necessarily require me to just sit and meditate. But even while I walk and move around, I can be in a meditative awareness, which is awareness of the soul, the original, eternal, imperishable being of light. For a little while, I'd like to invite you to be present, to be here, and to be now. Allow your mind to settle in the moment, to relax. This meditation is about awareness. It's about becoming aware of your original and eternal self. It's about connecting to your truth. Let go of your name. And observe yourself feeling nameless. Let go of your gender to discontinue thinking you're a man or a woman. Let it go and observe how you would feel walking around without a gender. Let go of the role that you play and let go of the titles that you own. Observe how you're feeling as you are gradually letting go. Let go of your religion and put it aside just for now. And let go of your nationality and even the language that you're accustomed to. Imagine you have no name, gender, role, title, religion, nationality, or even a language. Ask yourself, how do you feel at this moment? And in this feeling, who would think of you and who would you think of? The Supreme Soul would think of you, and you, the liberated soul, would think of the Supreme. In this state of absolute freedom, I am truly who I am.
a free, peaceful, pure, immortal, and eternal soul. Allow yourself to just be absorbed in this awareness. At this time.